consideration, because I know of many of my peers that hate coming to school. They don't like the idea of school, and I think it's because of what you just said, because they are forced to do something that they don't necessarily want to do, and because they don't have a platform where they can exercise their passion, that's why they're not doing so well. That's why they're not performing so well. That's why they're not really enjoying school. So what you said there, really, I'm saying all the things that you're saying here is so relatable. I feel like
I feel you. Yeah.
With Peter, like I can relate with it. So I'm really enjoying this podcast. I'm learning a lot. Like with every question, I'm learning more. With every answer that you're giving, really it is powerful. And what people say about you, it's really it's true. You are really an authentic speaker, and just listening from your experience is great for me. And I'm glad that you're on this channel and that the Teen Entrepreneurs community gets to hear from you. So I want to ask, where will you go from here? So you've accomplished so much already. You have 3 books on your name. You have the title author. You also, I didn't mention, but you're a radio personality. Also, you've been on radio interviews before. You've been to, I think, was it Holland that you went out to that you gave speaking to. So you're also an international public speaker. You have so much already on your name. So where are you still going from here? What is there still that you dream to accomplish?
Now, you see, what I'm about to share with you right now, I hope you take it from me personally, for you personally, and before anyone hears this. And I want to say this with very calm and very precise, right? And the reason is this. I wouldn't be here if I knew those titles. And I wouldn't be here if I focused too much on becoming the title and focus less on becoming who I need to be, right? The reason is this. There's something called ego in life. All of us have it, whether we want it or not. In fact, let me recommend a book right on the spot. There's a book, go search it online, get a PDF, read that book. It's very short and precise. It's titled Ego is the Enemy. And when I read that book, I'll tell you this, it challenged me. Before I get to that book, Dr. Myles Munroe says, the biggest enemy to success is your previous success, right? The biggest enemy to your next success is your previous success. Meaning that ego says to you, Howard, you've written a book. You must be a genius. You must be all these great things that the world is telling you. Do you know what Howard does? Howard sits back and like, yeah, I'm an author. I mean, who are you? Who do you guys think I am, right? And this is something that I had to challenge myself. That listen, don't wait for the title. Do the job, and let the title itself come without you having to beg it or you going after it. The challenge that we're facing right now, Michael, is this. Anyone can become anything they want to be. Anyone can set up a Facebook account and Instagram page and go, I am a dancer, I'm an international speaker. Whatever the title you want, you can get it, right? And here are 2 things that I learned from that book. We have a choice to become and a choice to do. Here's what it means. To do is this. You can do what the title says of you, meaning that you get trapped into the mindset of what success looks like. Now, what then it means is that how you address people, how you talk to people, how you behave, how you respond to other people, whether they're starting out, whether they've made it big, how you engage with people will be on the solemn thing called ego and your title as well. And this has been a challenge. And even listening throughout this podcast, I need to make this clear. I'm only 20 years old and I'm still a student, right? If I ever get to a mind of saying, I've done it, I've made it, that is the beginning of, that is the end of me, literally. Because why? Title themselves create an imaginary success where you are now perceived in different lenses. And what it does to you is this, you start to forget why you do exactly what you do. Because most of us go, Howard, I want to be a speaker, or I'm an author. Now I need radio interviews. Now I need to be on TV. I'm like, why? Why must you be on TV? Why must you be on this platform? That is a sign of ego. And I have to turn them away and tell them, go find out why you started this thing. Because if you really started it by saying, I just want to write this book, or I want to be the next poet or the next entrepreneur that is only because you wanted to get the title, you won't survive in the end game of this of what life is. Second choice is become. Become therefore means whatever you solemnly do, you are not inspired or not even taken away by the titles. What it means is that you earn them. You understand? Meaning you don't work for the title themselves, you become the title. Meaning that I don't go, I am an author, I've written a book, that's the work that is done. Whatever people put on me or whatever the titles may come after that, it's not for me, it's by the work that is done. Meaning that if I wake up the next day, Michael, and I'm no longer a speaker, I'm no longer an author, I will never be depressed and I will never lose a sense of who I am. Because ego and title replaces your own personal identity, it replaces your personal image, and it gives you a false confidence to say you're wearing this badge or you're wearing this tie if you go to your school, whatever the case is. And suddenly what it gives you is what I would call positional power, where it's like you're only known in your only head merely because you hold a certain position. Meaning without the position you don't amount to anything. But becoming therefore says, I'm good at writing. That's what I would stick to. I'm not going to run after awards. Let me write the book and let the book run after the award. So you don't go, I need a radio interview. It's something that I always mention, that I have never been in a position where I call a radio station and be like, guys, give me an interview. I've always put the work first, where I'm like, let me speak if I need to speak. Let me write a book if I need to write a book. Then someone picks up the book and is like, damn, do you really write that? Like, yes. Like, come through. We think, our radio station or our newspaper needs to hear your story. So my advice is this: wherever I'm going next will be determined by my ability to keep my ego at bay. And if I have that in control, and one may ask then, how do I keep my ego at bay? It's always going back to the drawing board. Why am I doing it? Secondly, it's self-awareness. Always knowing that people can always take away what they give you, because titles are given by people, awards are given by people, whatever the case is. And once people start giving you awards, they create this box for you where you also go, wow, I've actually done this. I'm now recognized by this organization. Now I'm going to, where we met, for instance. And then you suddenly forget, why did you start speaking? My reason for always going and meeting this opportunity, I always go to Howard that had low self-esteem. Howard that wrote a book because of that. Through that, I then build up to the next product, next whatever interview and whatever the case is. So I'm sorry I made this long, but I had to be very direct and mention it, because success is easy, Michael. Success today is very easy. If you want to be famous, it's so easy. Go to whatever page you want to have, create memes, create videos, post them, boost them, get 100 views on it, and then you are now a star, you are now successful. But all of that does not last if the individual has not fully invested in themselves. And that is why I'd say where I'm going next is just on my ability to manage my ego and always going back to the drawing board. Had it been the titles, I wouldn't have accepted this interview with you. I would have probably wanted a better background, because I'm home now, I'm with my mom. And I would have wanted to wear a tie and suit, but I don't care about that. You know what I mean? I'm just about get the message, get the word. That's all that matters, because at the end of the day, the applause of men will run away. And the question is, when that you do not have anymore, who are you? And can you still continue doing exactly what you want to do? So once you've read the book Outliers, Ego is the Enemy, now get my books, Young, Black and Powerful, Lessons from a Domestic Worker. That's my advice.
Okay. You don't need to apologize for that answer, because I think that was the best way you could have answered that question. It's obviously not the way I expected you to answer it, but it's the best way that you could have answered it. Because in the day and age that we're living in, most teenagers, or not most teenagers, almost anyone, is trying to put on a front. They're trying to chase that fame, and they're doing it just for the but it's not really authentic. It's not the real, and that ego is your enemy. I can relate to that because starting out also, when you get that title, it's not like you forget why you started, but it starts slipping away. It's almost like it slips out of your hand, and then when you start losing that fame, you start losing the followers or whatever it is, then you start wondering, but why? And just as you said, just as easy as it's given to you, it can be taken away from you. So just getting back to why am I starting? I think that is a very good for young, ambitious teenagers, aspiring for greatness, aspiring for their ideas and their projects. I think that's a good thing to remember, that ego is the enemy, because we sometimes get lost in titles and we forget why we start in the first place. So I love that answer.